HoverGlide backpacks behave differently than normal backpacks. What makes a HoverGlide unique is its suspended load technology. This requires the back to have two frames, a moving frame and a fixed frame. The bag is attached to the moving frame and the harness is attached to the fixed frame. The HoverGlide's two frames slide up and down relative to each other. Locking the HoverGlide secures the moving frame to the fixed frame. The locking mechanism has two parts, the lock, shown here in orange, and the yellow safety latch. You must lock the HoverGlide before putting it on your back, as it makes it much easier to manage. To lock the HoverGlide, you slip the lock into one of the two slots located on the fixed frame. Then bring the safety latch over to keep it in place. This safety latch ensures the lock doesn't dislodge while in use or in transit. The HoverGlide can be unlocked by removing the safety latch and pushing the pack down to release the lock itself. Now the pack will glide up and down with your movements. When wearing the HoverGlide, the unlocking action can be done by simply hopping up and down or pulling down on the pack. Once unlocked, you want to move the safety latch back in place. This will keep it from getting snagged into anything. Once on your back, undo the safety latch and hop up and down to release. If it doesn't release, then you can reach back and pull the moving frame down. Again, once unlocked, you want to put the safety latch back so that it doesn't lock accidentally. When you want to remove the pack, push the lock back and move the moving frame up and down until it seats. Then push in hard, away from the pack, to fill the slot. And then set the safety latch to secure the lock in place. With the HoverGlide locked, it will now be easy to remove. As mentioned, it's a good idea to lock the HoverGlide when you put it on your back, and then to unlock it once you're ready to go. Upon arriving at your destination, you must lock the HoverGlide to remove it, and leave it in the lock position to stand it upright, and to make grabbing items easier. Note that it would be instructive to practice in the mirror, locking and unlocking the HoverGlide while it's on your back, to get a feeling for the actions. It is also recommended to lock the pack when you lay it horizontally. For instance, if you're fitting it in an overhead compartment on an airplane, or laying it in the trunk of a car. Under certain conditions, you must lock the pack, such as when looking over a cliff edge. When wearing the HoverGlide, you will notice that when leaning forward, the moving frame rises upward, changing the weight distribution. So if you lean over a railing very quickly, the moving frame could bump the top of the frame and affect your balance. To get the most out of your HoverGlide, you must adjust the spring tension to match the weight of the load inside the pack. In general, you must adjust the spring tension so that the top of the moving frame is roughly even to the fixed frame. When the HoverGlide has too much weight, the moving frame will knock on the bottom of the fixed frame. This means you need to increase the tension to raise the pack back up. When the HoverGlide has too much spring tension, then it will knock on the top of the frame. This means you will need to decrease the spring tension to lower the pack back down. Caution: the pack must be unlocked when adjusting the spring tension. Adjustment lever. This lever is used to increase or release the spring tension. Crank the lever up and down to increase the spring tension and raise the pack upward. Pushing the lever down slightly past horizontal will release some of the spring tension. Pushing the lever all the way to the bottom of the fixed frame will release the tension completely. For demonstration, here the HoverGlide is properly adjusted for the current weight. The top of the moving frame is flush with the top of the fixed frame. Say we add 5 pounds to the load. You can see this pushes the moving frame down to the bottom of the fixed frame. In this case, we need to increase spring tension to raise the moving frame back up. Crank the adjustment lever up and down to increase the spring tension and raise the pack upwards. Pump this lever repeatedly until the top of the moving frame is matched to the top of the fixed frame. A little more. And there you have it. Now if we remove the 5 pounds, there is too much spring tension, and the moving frame is pulled up towards the top. In this case, you would have to release some of the spring tension. This is done by pushing the lever down past the horizontal position until you hear the release or see the load move. Note, when cranking the handle up and down to increase tension, be careful not to go down too far, or you will release all of the tension and have to start over. To avoid accidentally releasing all of the tension, we've inserted a safety cord that prevents you from depressing the adjustment lever too far down. To release the tension, simply slide the safety cord out of the slot and depress the adjustment lever past the horizontal position. When adjusting the HoverGlide, it is good to incline the fixed frame by about 10 degrees, as that is the typical angle when walking. When loading the HoverGlide, it is a good idea to stow heavier items close to your back and high up in the pack. When wearing a HoverGlide, cinch the hip belt and shoulder harness so that they are snug, then tighten the load lifters at the top. Wearing the HoverGlide, you will notice that when leaning forward, the moving frame rises upwards, changing the weight distribution. So if you lean over a railing very quickly, the moving frame could bump the top of the frame and affect your balance. When wearing the HoverGlide, if the moving frame taps at the top or the bottom, you should remove the HoverGlide and readjust the tension. Individuals who are flexible may be able to adjust the pack while it's on your back. If the moving frame taps at the top, release some of the spring tension, and if it taps at the bottom, crank it upwards. The maximum weight that a tactical and hiker pack can suspend while gliding is about 25 pounds. If you need to carry more weight, you can always lock it, and this will allow it to carry up to 30 pounds. Caution. It is important to be aware of such items as straps and buckles that could get caught between the frames during use. These items will usually cause a friction noise or a clicking sound, but it may affect the function of the HoverGlide. Ensuring that all straps are stowed before putting on the pack is a good idea. Also, people with long hair should make an effort to keep it out of the way.